welcome everybody to the Qatar Airways GKA Kite World Tour.
Inside the water, like everybody want to win. It's gonna be a good show.
We now have like the best showcase.
I'm here to win.
For me, freestyle is everything in my life.
Pressure is a privilege, brings out the best in us.
Their level can fully be shown when the conditions are perfect.
It's time to show it.
Let's get it.
Who are going to be our new world champions?
Somewhere new, show me burgundy sunset sky. Let's fly, to fly, to fly, to fly.
Wherever you go in the world, one airline goes further to make it feel exceptional. Qatar Airways, going places together.
I wanna feel a feeling just like this. I wanna feel more feelings just like this. Whoa.
Welcome then to the Qatar Airways GKA Kite World Tour. I'm Lewis Crathern. Sitting beside me is Liam Dredge. Liam, tell me what's going on out there.
Lewis, we're currently underway with the hydrofoil men discipline at the moment. They've been on the water for the morning, and yeah, it's been a good show. We do apologise for the slight technical issues we had this morning, just getting the stream up and ready for you all tuning in at home. But here we are in the sunny and windy Tarifa. We've got about 20 knots at the moment. And it's all systems go. We've had all the riders here from the crack of dawn, really. We had the first possible start around 9:30, probably got underway around 10. And currently on the water, I believe we've got Alex Soto against Joselito.
It's about 20 knots of Levante, and those of you that have been focused on the forecast here will know that they've had a tough time of late over the last 6 weeks, with the Levante showing no sign of appearing. And even now, it's still not super strong, but it is blowing Levante. It's 20 knots, like Liam said. And these hydrofoil big air riders can go pretty high in that. They're just out the back here as we look to the south outside of our live stream booth. But we welcome you all to the show today to mainly look at the surfboard big air discipline and the hydrofoil. Looks very much like Tuesday, showing good signs for the twin tip, Liam.
Yeah, I mean, like, as you mentioned, it's been a really tricky forecast recently in Tarifa, and the riders haven't really had enough time to necessarily train in the big air conditions that we know Tarifa is so famous for. But, you know, this is sort of, we called the green light a few days ago, and it was a good call because looking at the long-range forecast, the window for this event is until the 16th of June. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot until then. Like you said, Tuesday is really the only good day we have for the twin tip guys. So plan is to hopefully finish all 3 disciplines today, and then we go for Tuesday with the twin tippers.
So a big warm welcome to you wherever you are around the world. Perhaps let us know in our comments section below. We really want to hear from you today about what you think of these disciplines and your favourite riders perhaps, and 2 riders on the water right there in front of me, really pushing hard here for what looks like a place in the final already of the hydrofoil discipline, I believe, Liam. But really the standouts today to fill you in on: Jamie Overbeek riding really well in the hydrofoil division, of course, podium finisher at the Red Bull King of the Air. He knows big air inside out, but the one to beat we were discussing is very much Charles Brodell, who's upped his game since last year.
Yeah, and it was funny, Lewis, we were actually speaking, you know, while we were off the stream about, you know, the riders, and you mentioned to me that you thought maybe last year that, you know, riders were sort of maybe catching up with Charles a little bit in this discipline, and then recently, you know, he's just been throwing it down on the socials. You've seen all the double loops and, you know, all the double conchas that the guys doing with the forward offs and all the rotations. It's just mind-blowing what these guys can do on a foil at the moment.
Yeah, he was, for me, last year, one of the standout performers, but the others are getting closer and closer to him. And I think the door was open last year. Jamie Overbeek didn't have a good final. Even Maxime Chablos was maybe thinking, that's the freestyle rider, Maxime, and the world champion at skiing as well. The door was open for them last year, but like we've seen, if you've been following social media as well over the last year or so, Charles Brodell, who really focuses on this discipline. You don't see him much in the twin tip or surf department. I'm sure he's very capable, but he is the one that's created his own moves, performing double loops. He's the one that's looking the most comfortable. So I haven't actually seen too much of him today, but the scene is set here really to crown one of these riders as the champion, which we will do. It's a one-hit wonder, these disciplines that are coming up here today, Liam.
Yeah, one-hit wonder for the 3 disciplines we have today, the hydrofoil and the surfboard. For the twin tip guys, they were in Lauder Trams back in the end of March. The start of April, where we had the first big air event of the year, and this is going to be the one that crowns the champion as well. So hopefully by Tuesday at the end of next week, we're going to have all 3 world champions crowned in our big air discipline on the GKA World Tour calendar, and we're just going to do our best now to try and get cameras on the water and try and get you guys watching at home, you know, what's going on down there, because 20 knots, they're putting some loops, and it's looking good out there.
We can see your comments, and again, we do want to get some nice engagement with you today, and I can assure you, someone's just walked in here, and they look like they're turning off the aircon, which is going to be a nightmare for us, but perhaps, you know, maybe it sounds, just pull the plug out. You know, that's what I suggest. But
you'll see us at 5 o'clock, and we'll be dripping, and T-shirts will be wet, but it is what it is.
We'll be going to the water then very shortly, but we still have a green flag up, and we're going to talk to you about what we can see, because we are on the spot as now goes. Well, that's nice and quiet now with the aircon off. Thank you, Rasa. But left foot forwards coming into the box on the white Cabrino then. Looks like Joselito.
Yeah, that's Joselito there. Going up, taking the board off, putting quite a late loop there. It's sort of, I'd say that's more of a down loop there for Lewis.
Yeah, it wasn't massive, that jump, and we will get these shots to you at some point, but for now we're going to paint the picture to you. There's about 50 or so people on the beach here just looking out to the south. Very strange. Sand isn't blowing everywhere. It's not one of them days in Tarifa where you're getting absolutely sandblasted. There's a bit of cloud, low and high, as we can see Morocco in the background. Both these riders are right in front of us going parallel to the beach. There is the red flag, though, so that is the end of that heat, and one of these riders I think will be out of the competition. That was heat number 3.
Yeah, riders coming in now, and we can see that the tide as well, sort of mid-tide, is coming up towards the high tide section. I think high tide, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going to have a little look now for you. It is around that 240 mark. So around 240 we're going to see that high tide really come in, and then it's going to drop back off again. So hopefully we'll be able to get the surfboard riders out as the wind increases. But there on your screens, there's the shot that you can see. Finally, we've got that angle for you. I know the heat has ended, but shortly there'll be more riders coming onto the water. But Lewis, talk us about this spot, because you know this spot pretty much, maybe better than anyone else. You've kited here for years, you've competed here, and just talk us about this famous spot of Balneario.
It's one of those spots where it actually is a lot smaller than it might look on TV. When you see 5-7 riders in there that have to rotate around, it gets very busy. So that distance from that buoy to the other buoy in the background there, as you look towards the west, isn't that far, and it's quite low tide at the moment too. So when it's really nuking, the classic thing here is that riders race towards the rocks there, riding parallel with their backs to the sand, and they get that uplift that we talk about, Liam, where they get really pulled upwards and then they perform their moves. But I've always felt with this spot, it's one of them that I think you have to be careful as a big air rider. You can't just pull the trigger without being absolutely sure that things feel good on the way up, which you can in some spots where perhaps there's waves and white water to crash into. There's something about flat water and landing hard on, you'll always hear people talk about it like it being concrete, Liam, that I'm very aware of when I ride here, certainly myself. So I don't want to be taking a full drop or bomb out or an equipment failure. So it's not as simple as it looks, even though it's flat water. And when the waves start picking up and the swell comes in here, it's not like just jumping off the perfect wave where you're hitting it. It's coming so at you that you've almost got to ride the crest of the wave and take off with a totally different style, which the best riders seem to have no problems doing.
Yeah, I think we saw one of those days back around the March time, I think, where we were the huge kickers, and if it all aligns, if you get that strong wind and you get those rolling waves that are coming in, and you can, the height and the distance that you can cover at this location is second to none. It really is very impressive, and with the angles that we have, and hopefully the forecast that we have, for the twin tip guys on Tuesday as well, all these riders from the hydrofoils, from the surfboards, from the twin tips, will all be able to put on a great show for you. And today, hopefully, we're looking at the forecast where we're optimistic that we're going to see stronger winds, hopefully towards that 25-30 knot mark as we go later in for the day. But at the moment, we're still going to continue on with our hydrofoil big air, as riders are now taken to the centre stage. And there you can see the F1 rider, Mr. Charles Brodell, just body dragging his way out, because as Lewis mentioned, it's low tide at the moment, so the hydrofoilers, they can't just go in straight off the beach. They've got to body drag their way out, because most of them are probably riding that 75 to 85 centimetre mast.
Yeah, good point. They can't get in too close here, but they don't seem to have any seaweed issues. But if you have just joined us, then please let us know where in the world you've joined us from, who you want to win this. So this is the current world champion then out on the water, who's looking to make it through to another final. We can confirm already in the final, Maxime Leroy, Desjardins from France, Jamie Overbeek from the Netherlands, and Joselito Del Rosario. No Maxime Chablos making it through. Apologies there. The podium finish today. 50% of their riders managing to get 50% of the riders in this final are from the Dominican Republic. But here is the world champion. Look at that control. Look at that edge. Charles Brodell, the man to beat here, sets up for a big back roll mega loop with a board off. Has he got his feet in tight enough? Lovely extra rotation. He is finding another gear, and as you predicted, Liam, looks to be the one that's going to take this right now. He just looks like he's on another planet to the other riders with his landings. He's really in control, his technique, and he's leaving a lot for the other riders to deal with.
Yeah, it's very impressive as well, but, taking the board off at that height with a hydrofoil, and how quickly he's able to just place that board back under his feet. it's sort of like he could, you know, have it off for longer. He's got that much control over his equipment. And here you can see Alex Soto just going for the standard mega loop there.
Was he going for a double there? I don't know. Like, it's pretty crazy. So we only got about 20 knots here. They like a lot more wind than that. But I know he's on a 6 meter. And to give you an idea of what's going on with the other kite sizes, Jamie Overbeek is on a blue 8 meter ozone. Looks like an edge for him. But coming into the shot now then is Joselito, who's coming left foot forwards with that white Cabrino. Apologies, I got him wrong with Alex earlier. And he's going to turn around. Just waiting. It's or was that Jamie maybe going for his move, which was a bit of a failed move, turning around. Very tense to see who's going to be currently in second or third. But for me, Charles has really got this in the bag at the moment. Nice takeoff then from Joselito. Bit of peace and quiet in this final as we go back to the current world champion. Just look at that edge control he's got and that wing control as he takes off then. Charles Bradell, that's quite a big front roll contra loop just over the Val de Faquiros sand dune in the background. He's looking like he's comfortable for this, Liam.
Yeah, he's looking good out there. I'm just going to try and load the scores up here and see exactly where we're standing and where we're cooking with things. But yeah, Charles Bradell showing that competition experience, really finding the groove out there in, you know, that 20 knot range. And I'm sure he would, you know, I'm sure he'd love a few more out there, 25, 30 knots, to showcase some of those bigger double moves that we know he's capable of. But he's making it work out there, Lewis.
Contra loop then from Alex Soto. He's just not going quite as high. I'll be interested to know the different setups of the riders here. It looks like a slightly bigger kite that Charles Bradell's got. And look, this lovely shot here, you can just see how shallow it is. The riders do have to stick a reasonable distance out here not to come into contact with anything on the bottom. But big welcome to you from around the world then. This is the GKA Kite World Tour, Qatar Airways. That's massive though from Jamie Overbeek. Massive mega loop with a delayed back roll and a nice clean landing to really open his account here and get something on the board. He needed that.
Yeah, he's currently sitting in 4th position, and that's definitely going to amp him up there. And we'll just go through the lineup again. In 1st position, we got Charles Bradell. In 2nd position, actually, we've been going through Alex Soto, but it's actually Maxime that's in 2nd, Joselito 3rd, Jamie Overbeek in 4th. So they're your 4 finalists. I think you were right, Lewis, and I was wrong just previously on the whole Maxime Alex thing. But, you know, here we are.
Well, we were kind of both wrong, so 2 wrongs make a right, I think. As we see a huge mega loop board off and a big crash as well, which isn't going to count, unfortunately.
So, Charles Bradell in 3rd position. Jamie Overbeek knows what he needs to do, and you can see there 2 flags are flying. The green flag to show that the riders, that the heat is on, and in that yellow jersey, and that only means one thing, and it means Charles Bradell going for a big kite loop with the front row and a few more rotations coming down once again, just popping back up onto that foil. He really doesn't spend much time on that board when it's on the water. He's straight back up onto the foil, popping himself up. That's what the judges want to see. Commitment, they want to see you go extreme. They're looking at the kite angle in those loops, but also when it comes to hydrofoil discipline, how quickly these riders are getting back up onto the foil. That's a big factor when it comes into the scoring of each move.
That's a lovely back roll mega loop there, very well controlled. And are we going to see a decent score on the board then from the Dominican there? All right, we think this is Joselito on this Cabrina here. There's definitely a Dominican rider in this final, so forget all those 50% stats I was boring you with earlier. It won't be true. They do not have a guaranteed podium finisher. Unless 4th place gets on the podium, probably does as it's a bit unfair to get to the final and not stand there. Does that count as being on the podium? I've always felt my 4th place is, which I have had. I've had a 4th here that never felt. I mean, you're standing next to it. It's kind of, it's kind of. I don't know. You kind of.
Mixed
it's
emotions.
like you feel great you're in the final, and then you suddenly feel like you've blown it. But here we go. Has he blown this one though? Oh, what a landing!
Wow.
A foiled wow, they like that. Excitement on the beach. He liked it. He's still got to control this landing.
Yep.
That is a very special landing there. We don't often see them riding out on the foil here. But here's Charles Brodell. And
looked like the old Rhino slide, that one there, Lewis.
Yeah, that was awesome. Lovely shot of the flags here.
Yeah, flags and the crew all working together. And Charles Brodell now on your screen, front and centre.
Wearing the gold rash vest, by the way, indicating... Oh, and it's a double front roll contra loop. Was there a board off there? Oh, he couldn't deal with it. He just couldn't deal with it, Liam.
He couldn't deal with it, no. It's a great shot to see. You know, I honestly thought that he had that then, and just unfortunately just not keeping enough pressure on that front foot, popping out on the foil there. Super hard to control the foil. If any of you back at home are into foiling, and I'm sure you are, you understand the feeling that what it's like to be on that foil. But then to throw in a massive kite loop as well and multiple rotations and land, it's super, super tough.
Meanwhile, a front roll with a contra loop on your screens.
From Maxime.
From the Frenchman.
From the Frenchman, Maxime.
We've become many different riders in this final as we've struggled. At least we know who this one is. Orange helmet. It's Jamie Overbeek. Really needs something special here. Out of the shot with a doobie loop. Can he land this? Looks good for me to land. Gets it down, but sinks down a little bit. I'm not sure if he's going to lose some points there. No. So let's take a look at the scores, Liam, because I think he's making a comeback here, is Jamie, but is it too little too late?
Yeah, no, he is making a comeback, Lewis. He's coming in 3rd position at the moment. That landing there is definitely going to penalise him when it comes to getting a slightly better score. But just waiting for the scores to come in now for Jamie for that last move, because his last one actually was a 7.50, one of the highest scores of the heat.
Yeah, so he's got the moves to be able to do this, but he's got to get on with it here as we see a contra loop then from the Cabrina rider, Joselito.
Correct, yeah, the Dominican.
We've got there now, Liam.
Okay, so Jamie Overbeek now popping into that 2nd position there. So for the kite loop front roll, 6.96.
So this could get close here.
It's getting tasty. It is. Now we've got one more trick left when it comes after Charles here. Charles has another one to go.
And there was a quick shot of us in the studio. Don't you just love that when you don't know you're going to be on camera? And lands it. So Charles is upping his game a little bit. Look how far out to sea he was there, Liam. But he must know now. The pressure is on a little bit as the others, certainly Jamie, starting to land a few moves. Can he just push up his 2 best scores?
Well, he's going to need to, because I'm pretty sure now we are on the final trick attempt of this heat. It's going to be the 3 best scores that count. And now riders on their final trick attempt. And it's Maxime here. Not quite getting the height, going down. That's probably going to count as a crash. The rider here currently sitting in 3rd position. They're not going to be advancing on that.
So the way I see this, it's very close then. There's less than a point between the French and Dutch rider of Jamie Overbeek and Charles Brodell. Is this big enough? Can he stick this on? He can't. That's a horrendous bomb out landing, unfortunately, for Jamie Overbeek. Really going for it there on what could possibly have been his last move.
And now Joselito coming into your screen. Left foot forward. What's he got? Currently sitting in 4th position. We're going to be wanting to improve on that.
And another almost riding out foiling landing. He's had a few of those moves. Will it be enough to take him up onto one of the steps of the podium, or will he have to stand on the ground like the rest of us as we crown the finalists here at the GKA Kite World Tour in Tarifa? It's all about big air. We've got 2 disciplines running today, really, the hydrofoil and this lighter Levante, as meanwhile your current world champion. Can he seal the deal and remove all doubt with that huge front roll contra loop and landing and riding away? Charles Brodell must be riding away now from his last trick attempt, confident that he will retain that world title status as the flagman.
Boom, there it is, green flag.
That looked very
Down, yeah,
organised.
buzzer goes, and there we go. So that is it. Signed, sealed, delivered. We're going to get some confirmation on exactly what happened between Jamie Overbeek and Charles Waddell, but it's looking very, very promising for Charles Waddell. Didn't really put a foot wrong during that heat. Jamie Overbeek, unfortunately, going down on a couple of his manoeuvres. He really did have the chance to take it to Charles out of those 4 riders, but you know, just not being able to, one, get some of the same heights, but also, two, not being able to link some of those landings together, which is such a shame. And there you can see just a live still view of the current crowds. I mean, it's midday here, 12:15 in the afternoon, and crowds are starting to form. You can see a bit of anti-blowing against the flags there. It's not that crazy nuking wind that we do know Tarifa can deliver, but you know, for the hydrofoil guys on these foils, they can still put on a great show.
Was just one guy there crabbing around in the seaweed. If we've got anyone else wandering around in the seaweed. Not yet. We might have some kiteboarders doing so, but there are the riders just exiting the water as a very small swell just washing them up the beach. Can't be far away until a prize giving here, so I may have to leave the booth very shortly, Liam. But these are the scenes now as looks like some members of the Cabrina team are giving feedback to Joselito from the Dominican Republic, who is very happy to get into the final. There is Charles Waddell, who doesn't know if he's retained the World Title Championship. We don't know that either. He looks pretty happy. Well, that was a nice shot of the kite coming down near the camera, but I think he doesn't know. You never know until someone tells you, but looks to me that he thinks he knows.
Yeah, he seems pretty happy there, and obviously our camera crew there getting all the shots needed. And Joselito there on your screen coming and landing his kite as well. So good performance there from all our riders. We've got 4 in the final for this event, which is a little bit different to how we did it in previous events. Normally we've changed it. We've been speaking to the Big Air Committee actually, Lewis, and in between Lord of Trams and this event. And in Lord of Trams we've previously had the mini final, and then you'd have the final afterwards. But we decided to change things up and have 4 in the final this year. Not only because we think it's going to be great for the show, but also it was backed by multiple big air riders and multiple disciplines. So we thought, why not switch her up? And it was nice to have 4 riders in the water there, I thought.
Oh, I agree with you. There was plenty of space there, and with the riders taking their turns like that, it's very easy to focus on each rider, so you can do it, and it's it keeps the competition not 10 hours in the day. It keeps it quite quick. So that's the hydrofoil discipline, but it looks like Charles Waddell getting lots of... There he is in the golden rash vest, indicating that he is the highest ranked rider going into that final. Only one time do they get to wear that golden rash vest in a final where, like you said, we have these 4-man finals, and that'll be a big moment for him because there's a lot of pressure riding on his shoulders, being the world champion, and last year just pipping the others, and it's not just a lot of pressure, there's so much riding on it in these careers of these young men and women. Definitely having that status of world champion could be the difference of a life-changing difference of sponsorships and making a real living in the sport. So congratulations to him. I'm sure Jamie's going to be a bit down that he didn't land his best moves in that one, Liam, because he has got what it takes to really push Charles. I mean, when we get to look at the last scores here in the totals, there can't be more than a few points in it. But Jamie perhaps focusing on the big air twin tip as well might be happy just to be getting in the top 3. But
yeah, his time's not over here in Tarifa. He is down as one of the actual top seeded riders. So in the 20 discipline. So he will sure be back for more action.
so the scene is set for this podium prize giving shortly here with the hydrofoil riders. I don't know, should I be getting out of here? Well, are they doing the interviews? They do the interviews before. All right, we're going to go to a commercial.
Charles first.
Sigo esperando resultados desde la torre official. Of this final. Okay, sorry for the delay, but it's very important to take their resolve, taking in consideration every key point. It's a lot of things that should be the commitment, respect, and the smoothness. Okay. Alright, let's start with this. Okay, in fourth position, Maxime, please, let's make some noise to Maxime. Congrats this fourth position. And in third position, coming from Dominican Republic, Joselito del Rosario. Congratulations. And on the second position, very tight, difficult to say, and goes to Jamie Overbeek. And now let's make some noise for our champion, Charles Bro from France. Come on, let's make some noise. Congratulations. Okay, more noise, more round of applause, please, for this full finalist of the Qatar Airways GKA World Tour Hydrofoil discipline. Congratulations, guys. Amazing performance. Okay, 30 minutes break to start with the surfboard edition of the girls. Thank you very much to everyone. Okay, guys, thank you again.
Well done. Thank you. Well
Welcome back here then. So that was the scene on the beach for the hydrofoil, Liam, there, where Charles Brodell did it once more to become the hydrofoil big air world champion. Jamie Overbeek very close in second, and the other two there just couldn't get anywhere near them. But lots of people turned up actually now. The wind is reasonable, holding at 20 knots, and I believe we're going to see the Surfboard Big Air, the recently renamed from the strapless to Surfboard Big Air, taking place later, Liam.
Yeah, we're going to hopefully, first we're going to wait for the wind just to increase that a little bit more. So we're going to go on standby for now and then hopefully get the women and the men surfboard underway. And the plan is if the wind delivers and the Levante kicks up a little bit more, then we can also crown our champions later on today. But we do have time on our hand. The sun sets at about 9:30 here, so if we really needed to, we could push right through to that 8-9 p.m. time. We had to do it last year, we can do it again, but obviously the wind's got to hold for us, it's got to stay, it's got to be strong. Last year the surfboard riders unfortunately had slightly less wind, but they still wanted to compete. And hopefully today they can compete in slightly stronger winds around that 30 knot range. Still waiting for the wind to increase, and you can see just the scenes on the beach as we wait patiently now to see what the sports committee decides, whether we're going to go ahead or whether we're just going to hold out and wait that little bit longer.
So we will leave you now then with these scenes on the beach as I think we're getting going for the Big Air Surfboard division in around half an hour's time. We'll be back shortly.